Severe weather has left many without power in rural parts of Potawatomi County. Authorities say Onega Road is closed between Highway 24 and Oregon Trail Road this morning, just east of Wamego, due to downed power lines. Bluestem Electric Cooperative General Manager Mike Morton confirmed to KMAN that 8 of their double-circuit poles were knocked down overnight, impacting now around 300 customers.
Indications are there was a lot of wind that hit right in that area. Again, it took out 8 of our poles, and we expect restoration yet today without any issues there.
Evergy is also reporting outages in the St. Mary's area where additional storm damage was reported overnight. Officials there have notified residents that a boil water advisory may be warranted, but are awaiting further details from the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. Manhattan High School students will have access to new parking spots next week. The new parking lot will officially open to students on Monday. School officials say striping will take place this week, weather pending. Parking permits will continue to be $75 and available to just sophomores, juniors, and seniors. Principal Michael Dorst.
We feel that there's been a number of freshmen who are on a restricted permit and they don't have that year of driving with an adult under the belt. We have a number of students who have farm permits that are allowed to drive to and from school, but I think that far outweighs the number of kids that are using a license that would not allow them to drive by themselves.
In addition to those approved parking fees, the school board last night also voted unanimously to keep Manhattan High School student textbooks rental and other costs the same for the upcoming school year. The other fees include driver's education, activity tickets, and yearbooks. The fee amounts remain the same as last year's. Driver's education has cost $227 since 2018. The board also unanimously approved the purchase of some new science textbooks for grades 6 through 8 and professional development books, all totaling over $356,000. Kansas State University hosted political activist Chloe Cole Wednesday evening, who spoke on her experience as a child who underwent hormone treatment and transgender surgery. Cole detransitioned after initially transitioning as a teenager and is now advocating for the ban against gender-affirming care to children. She says she regrets her decision to transition as a minor and gives presentations to, quote, prevent others from making the same mistake.
Those who are suffering from the pain of discomfort around their sex and the wrath of this ideology deserve to know that they are strong enough to grow through it, and that there truly is no such thing as being born in the wrong body. Whether you were born male or female, whether now you're young or old, healthy or sickly, everything that you have in your life right now is a gift to you.
The Young Americans for Freedom student organization at Kansas State sponsored the event as an effort to increase the conservative movement on campus. Cole says Republicans and conservatives alike have embraced her attempts to help legislators ban these types of procedures.
Over half of the states here in the U.S. have listened to those of us who have been hurt and put age restrictions on these treatments. And many more states this year are well on their way. For example, Kansas is about to override the governor's veto of an amazing bill that will protect kids from going through what I did.
Governor Laura Kelly recently said the vetoed bill was, quote, an unwarranted attack on a small number of Kansans and based on a politically distorted belief that the legislature knows better than parents how to raise their children, end quote. City Hall will look a bit different next week as Manhattan City Manager Ron Fear officially turns in his keys. Since April 2000, Fear occupied the city manager's office. He's been on the city's payroll since January 1982, starting out as the forestry and parks supervisor in the newly formed Parks and Recreation Department. Becoming the head of city government was not something Fear ever envisioned happening, but says he's enjoyed seeing some of the projects he's worked on come to fruition.
And learn, not everything's great. Some things don't work out the way that you had hoped they were or planned to, but many things do, and many things have some lasting impact. So it's just, I think it's very fulfilling to be able to do that.
Since 2000, Fear has worked under 23 different city commissioners and even more than that prior to becoming city manager. He understood he was always 3 votes away from not having a job. As the political pendulum on the commission swung back and forth over the years, Fear has credited his longevity in the position to relationships he's been able to form with his bosses.
Most of the time, you're in agreement, and they're concurring with what staff is talking about. And occasionally you get those political issues that are just very difficult and challenging. And sometimes staff says, well, we don't have a recommendation. And that's really, this is a political issue, and you all just need to decide and tell us what you want to do and not take it personal.
Fear will be recognized at a public retirement reception today, starting at 3 o'clock at City Hall. The Riley County Historical Society is beginning a new public training initiative to assist in the preservation of historic gravestones. With 29 Kansas cemeteries currently on the National or State Historic Register, none of which are in Riley County. The museum identified a need for the conservation of headstones to not only preserve regional history, but preserve family and genealogical records. Museum Director Catherine Hensler says there are a lack of workshops in the area on gravesite conservation.
My thought was when we went looking that we would find a historical society or maybe just a small volunteer group that had been through training, that knew what they were doing, that was out there teaching others how to do this. And we just didn't find that. So we got to thinking, well, why don't we do it?
The museum is partnering with preservation expert Amanda Brown from Dickinson County. A workshop will take place May 11th. For more information on that, visit newsradiokman.com.
Good morning. I'm Troy Coverdale with your sports headlines. The K-State baseball team saw an early 7-0 lead dissipate through the latter part of their game at Northeastern yesterday, but they were able to scratch out a 9-8 11-inning victory eventually. Kalen Culpepper scored on a wild pitch after singling to lead off the inning. Jackson Wentworth shut the door on the Huskies as the Cats salvaged the final game of their brief 2-game stint back east. They return home for a Big 12 set against Oklahoma State starting tomorrow night at Toynton Family Stadium. Gavin Sheets homered. Eric Fetty pitched scoreless ball into the sixth. Then the White Sox edged the Royals 2-1 for a doubleheader split that ended a 6-game slide for the Pale Hose. Salvador Perez hit a 2-run homer in the eighth of the opener to give the Royals a lead, and Kansas City went on to win that contest 4-2. They're off today before opening a homestand tomorrow night. K-State basketball has been confirmed as part of the Paradise Jam field for this coming November. The annual early season hoops event in the Virgin Islands will include K-State for the first time since 2018, a year they beat Missouri for the title. K-State defensive tackle Javon Banks has entered into the transfer portal after one season in Manhattan. Banks made 9 tackles, registered a pair of sacks, and recovered a fumble in playing all 13 games for K-State last year. Have a great day. I'm Troy Coverdale.